Welcome to Jungo Vibes, the podcast for creative entrepreneurs from all over the world. Make sure you subscribe on your preferred podcast service or watch us on YouTube. Let's go. Okay, so welcome to Jungo Vibes. This is the podcast for creative entrepreneurs, and I have Valerie Tompkins here with me. She's from the US, from the East Coast. She will tell a little bit about herself. She's an author and wrote an amazing book called Girls Like Me, which is really about representation and showing how young Black girls can be represented in different types of occupations. And it's so amazing. I'm also an author of, a science fiction book, Afro science fiction books. I really wanted to talk to her to know how she came up with the idea, and also for all of you listening to be inspired and see how you can maybe, enter this world of books and self-publishing, etc. So Valerie, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm Valerie Tompkins. I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. So I started writing my book, Girls Like Me, in 2020. When we were sort of in the midst of the pandemic, a lot of us were stuck at home. And I've always loved to read since I was a little girl. I always carried around books with me. But looking back, I realized those books didn't have little girls that looked like me. They weren't about Black girls. They weren't stories about people like me or people that I really resonated with. So as an adult, I wanted to not only create a fun story, but add the representation piece so that on the cover, a Black girl can see she has brown skin and an afro just like me. So inside my book, we explore different careers. She's like a lawyer, a pilot, an astronaut, to inspire girls to pursue careers that we aren't typically pushed towards. I know I don't know any pilots personally or any astronauts. And I love when little girls can read my book and say, I want to be that. That's possible for me. So that's really my vision, to inspire and to add representation to children's literature to make reading fun.
That's amazing. That's so amazing that you say the astronaut part, because I haven't read your book yet. I really want to get it. It's on Amazon. I saw it. And I saw it was about different occupations, but the astronaut part, like I, as a little girl, I had three wishes. I wanted to be a princess, I wanted to be a singer, and I wanted to be an astronaut. Those three things, because I loved everything about just the stars and the planets and just knowing the world around us. And I think that also gave me my ambition to do go to university and stuff and study. But that was really the astronaut part. And I was looking at, mostly males, white males who were astronauts, and never, you never see that. And that's so nice that you have that representation in your book. So that is really what inspired you to write it, to have people acknowledge and see that. So but why a children's book for you? Like, is this your first book, or did you also write other books?
Yes, so this is my first children's book. The only other thing I've written professionally, I do like writing for resumes and professional wise. So when you're applying for a job, you need a resume or a cover letter, that sort of professional writing. But I'd never taken on a larger project. So of course I
Yes.
started with a children's book. It's a little less intimidating than a full 300-page chapter book. Those can take a lot longer to write. So I
Yes.
wanted to start with something a little more simple. And I know I want to continue publishing children's books, mostly around the career development theme, like about financial literacy, where they can really learn something from it. But I also want to do fun books like about Black girls traveling and really have fun with it. So I believe I will stick with those shorter books because it's so fun to me. I don't have an incredibly long attention span. Maybe one day I'll have a longer story to write about when people do their memoirs and tell their story. But right now, I'm just really having fun with the children's books.
That's so nice. That's so amazing. Also, the financial literacy part. That part is so important, that children learn, from an early age how to like budget, how to maybe invest, have that mindset. I'm really looking forward to that one. So when I have children, I can get those books. Really looking
Awesome.
forward. Yeah, that's so nice. And so your background, as you said, is in, you know, you're writing professionally, resumes and stuff. And actually, your children's books are an extension of that in a way, because
Yes,
that's so
definitely. I would
fun.
like to say that writing previously prepared me to be a children's book. So when people say, "Oh, have you written before?" I can't say no because I have written just in a different capacity. So one
Yes.
thing about being an author, a lot of people do a ton of different things. There's authors that are teachers, and like I work full time as well, and people that are they're writing screenplays and turning it into animations. There's just
Mm.
so many different parts of this that I didn't even know about a couple months ago, but I'm
Mhm.
meeting people that are turning books into movies and writing scripts. There's just really so much you can do when you're creative and you work for
Yes.
yourself.
Yes, that's true. That's so funny you say that, because also with my book Black Suns, we're also, it's about two girls, two sisters who are superheroes. They live on a distant planet. It's really like they you would call it, like, I think the genre is called Afrofuturism in general, but I call it Afro science fiction, because to me it's just science fiction, but then with a um with a Black story behind it, so that people can recognize who read it, but also people who are not from the Afro culture, that they learn about our culture,
Absolutely.
just like you have with anime and Japanese, even Pokemon or whatever, or Dragon Ball Z. You see their culture in the animations, you know, and I love that, to create that. Like in my, I have things about ancestors and those kind of things, you know, things that are just very, yeah, an Afro experience. Let me just call it like that. And it's for me very interesting. So how did you in your book really create, apart from the beautiful illustrations and the cover, you know, showing a beautiful brown Black girl, what did you put in it to create, to give that Black sauce? Let me just say it like that.
Yeah, so I'll say when I reached out to my illustrator, it was really important that my character had like the curly hair. So
Mm-hmm.
I had described to her what I wanted, and we really went back and forth to make sure I got a character that I thought was a good representation. So that the hair was one thing, and sort of just like the mantras inside. I have a few just little inspirational, in addition to the careers, I have a little bit of inspirational pieces where it just says, may you never stop dreaming, the limit does not exist. To really
Mm,
just speak life into little girls, to
yeah.
know that this girl in the book that has brown skin and an afro, that's you. Also there's
Mm-hmm.
something, she's in a bonnet in the beginning of the book. She's in
Mm-hmm.
her bed sort of like reading at night with her bonnet on, getting ready to explore.
That's, yeah, that's
And that was
amazing. Those
important
things.
because it encourages little girls to protect their hair at night, to know that it's normal. We wrap up our hair, whatever you have on it. So it's cute to see the cartoon do that. And then she's in all the different professional roles with her hair.
Yeah.
So love to see the progression. And it's really realistic for the little ones.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's those little things, that those are details that you only know when you have experienced that yourself. And that's why it's so important to have Black female authors who represent, because we, yeah, we experience it, and then you can really tell that story. That's so amazing. So
Yeah, that's a great question. I never been asked that before. Like, what gives it the sauce? I love that.
thank you. Yeah, I think it's so important because it's subliminal, you know. It's those little things that, why do we sometimes, or as a child, sometimes you feel like you are not represented when you read certain types of book with maybe a Caucasian characters, because it's maybe there is something in the book like, oh, then mom was brushing the hair with like a normal brush, something like that, and I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't happen with my afro, you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
then you already feel the disconnect as a child, like, but that's not my experience. I don't know how that works, like my mom has to put detangler in, or a lot of moisturizer or shea butter
Yes,
or
it
whatever
takes
you need, or
time.
coconut oil, that makes it our experience.
Mhm.
So I think that's those subliminal things or subconscious things are really important. And what do you hope that readers get out of this book? What is your main goal?
Yes, I want readers to know that there is no limit and to dream high, to start early looking for different things that they want to do in life, because the earlier you start, the sooner you can prepare, whether it's going to science camps or different themed camps to learn about things early on and to join like-minded groups with people and other children groups. There's so many things that you can learn early on. If you decide you want to be a doctor, you'll learn that a lot of those kids have been going to med camps in the summer or reading books about that before they were 17 or 18, right? So being
Mhm.
exposed to that at 5, 6, 7 years old just puts that in their mind. I'm going to do something great no matter what it is. We'll just find out as I get older, but the seed is already planted.
Yes, that's so important. That's great. So, what do you want also the parent? Why should a parent, on Amazon or whatever you're doing, you're searching for a book, why should a parent or a grandparent or an uncle or an aunt buy the book for their little ones?
Yes, because it's such a great story for little ones to grow into. Even if your 3-year-old isn't reading yet, she's looking at the pictures and she'll recognize that's a doctor, that
Mhm.
is an astronaut, that's an airplane, and it will really grow with her. And sometimes, even when the kids aren't fully making sentences and things, kids have said, I want to be a doctor, or they point at their favorite illustration. And it's really a learning experience while still being fun, because I want to make reading fun for kids so that it's not a chore, because reading opens up the door to so many more things in life. So another reason I started writing is because I know that reading allowed me to be pretty decent at writing and helped me through school. And it was a really good tool for me. So I like to let parents know just having books in your house for your kid to read is just a self-learning tool. So, and my book is a fun one for the job.
Yes, good. That's so good. So where can they find the book? Because I already gave some tips, of course.
Yes, the book is sold on Amazon, paperback and hard copy on Amazon, but I do signed copies at my website, authorvalerieTompkins.com. But I know Amazon is like great with international shipping and all that, so that's probably the quickest option.
Yes, because the people listening, they can be listening from all over. So at least they can just do the worldwide shipping of Amazon. That's great. And
Yeah, absolutely.
another question I almost forgot to ask, because this is yeah, my children's book is actually my third book that I wrote. I wrote two like business books. I
Yeah.
did write them in Dutch because I'm from the Netherlands, from Amsterdam. And but now at this moment I'm in Ghana, by the way, so I'm in West Africa. I'm kind of a
Okay.
traveler. But this book, Black Suns, I wrote bilingual. So I wrote every chapter into languages, which was, I wanted to innovate in the book world, but it was also pretty challenging to do that. So it's basically a bilingual book. But is there also something that you're thinking about of doing, of creating maybe your book in Spanish or in Portuguese? Because I even want to do it in more languages, because I have now Dutch, English, but it's combined in one book. But yeah, are you thinking about that, expanding it into
Absolutely.
other languages?
I am actually, I've already reached out to a translator to get Girls Like Me translated into Spanish. I've
Nice.
noticed I saw another children's book author do that. So I thought, hey, this is cool. Let me make it more accessible to even more people. So that's a great
Yes.
idea. And yeah, I'll need to make sure I plan to do that with future books as well. Why limit it, you know?
Yeah. Well, if you have that contact, please let me know about
I
it,
sure
because I'm
will.
also looking for someone to do the Spanish version.
Yes, I sure will. See,
Yes.
aren't you happy we had this connection? This is why we have to talk to each other. And yes,
True.
happy to help.
Yes, so that's so great. And how was that process for you to, because you self-published it, right? Because I
Yes.
did this children's book. The two other books I didn't. That was from a Dutch publisher, but this was my first self-published book. But I really enjoyed the whole, it was a lot figuring out also with Amazon and the whole, like even the outlining of the layout and everything. But how did you experience self-publishing, and would you recommend other listeners who are maybe thinking about writing a book to self-publish or find another way?
I recommend self publishing because the other option can be traditional publishing, where you would find an agent, a literary agent, and be represented by a brand. You're not really working for yourself, you're contracted by the company. And a lot of times, you have to pay them upfront before you make any money. And so for self-published authors, once you, as long as you get your illustrations together and your manuscript, and sometimes you don't even have to pay someone for illustrations. If you have a low content book, like a not a children's book, and you just need a cover, you can draw your own cover. Then to publish on Amazon KDP, it's free. And you have total control over your artwork, your cover design, your price. And Amazon's print on demand service fulfills the book for you and ships it to customers. So you are just missing out on the shipping it yourself aspect, and Amazon does take a piece of their royalties, but it's the convenience factor. If you're a brand new author, it's kind of nice that Amazon is handling all of that, especially as I get my footing in. So I do recommend self-publishing. And there are different print options. Like if you want to print your book in bulk to sell them on your website, you can still do that and have your book on Amazon. So yeah, I think sometimes people think you can only do one or the other, or you can start one way. But I know a lot of people that go from being traditionally published where they paid and then they self-publish, and it's like you just have to do your research and you can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say self-publishing is the way to go. Yeah, just do your research, know your budget, find good resources, and make it happen.
Yes, good. I love that. I agree with you. So self-publishing. And where did you find your illustrator? Because that's also a thing. Maybe if people want to write a children's book that they're thinking about, like, where do I find a good one?
Yeah, so I found her at peopleperhour.com. So
Okay.
I recommend, yeah, peopleperhour.com, also fiverr.com, upwork.com, or different freelancer websites where graphic designers and artists are posting their work, and you just reach out to them and tell them what you're looking for, look through their portfolio to make sure their art style aligns with your vision. So you can find a freelancer that's usually pretty affordable.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So that's, yeah, for me also, I used Instagram. I have some artists I know who do graphic design, and they also recommended me too. So that's how I found my illustrator. But yeah, those are really good options to go on Fiverr. And if you really want to know, like, you have also the intermediate
Yes.
company, so that you pay Fiverr and they pay the person, so that you know that everything also goes right. So there are, yeah, multiple ways to do it. That's so great. So again, so where can I find more also about you? That's what I also want to know. Like, where can they
Yes.
find
I am on Instagram at author
you?
Valerie Tompkins. I am on TikTok at author Valerie Tompkins. I'm also on Facebook, author Valerie Tompkins. So I spend most of my time on Instagram and TikTok trying to make reels and content and connect with people. So yes, I love to connect with people. So always feel free to reach out.
Yeah, so author Valerie Tompkins. So for everyone who's listening now, just I will also put it in the description on whichever podcast platform you're listening right now. Could be Spotify, it could be Google,
Yeah.
but I will put it in the description so that you guys can look her up and also look up the book Girls Like Me. And really looking forward to more versions like the financial literacy, and maybe
Oh
even
yeah.
like I'm now in the blockchain world a lot with NFTs and crypto, those kind of things. Like that's, I mean, the world's going to change so much for the little girls and boys growing up. So thank you so much for this. Is there anything else you want to add, and just maybe a final message that you want to give to people?
Yeah, so if you have any ideas, if you have any plans or goals, just get started. A year from now, you will wish you had started today. So go ahead and start scared, start now, and best of luck to you.
Great. Thank you for that, Valerie. Thank you so much for your time. Everyone who's listening in, thank you for listening, and see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to Jungo Vibes, the podcast for creative entrepreneurs. Don't forget to subscribe to your preferred podcast service and watch us on YouTube. See you next episode.